All right, let's go. Day number 40 of running paid ads. As you can see here, the last video was actually day 39, although it is saying 48. So by the time this video is out, it should be saying day 39, and this is 40. So it's been basically how many weeks? Almost 5 weeks, slightly more, right? Running paid ads. And actually, today we do have basically one book call. I'll show you the stats in a second, but in Facebook ads there are actually 2 booked calls, but from what I've noticed in the backend on Calendly, it's basically the same person. It's the same person, but they actually scheduled both on Sunday, so today, later on today, in probably 3 hours or so from now, and then also Monday. So I'll probably cancel the one from today just so it's more so of a focus day, and then tomorrow calls and all of that. But what I want to mention is that I'll probably won't take this call today just because it's about drop shipping, and basically that's not the ideal scenario, the ideal call that I'd have, I'd say, since dropshipping is not exactly the way to go if you want to think long term. It is a good business model to start with because it teaches you a lot of things about marketing, about sales, customer support. It basically teaches you everything, more or less, because you do have to be very scrappy with dropshipping. You might have higher gross margins if you sell at a higher price, so you do have some room to play around with. But then when it comes to actually delivering the product, it takes a lot of time in most cases, so it's not ideal. And you're basically competing with Temu, with AliExpress, and I've just made a few orders there in the last few days, and their shipments, their customer service, everything is working really well. So I wouldn't suggest competing with them on price. Yeah, definitely not on price. Never try to compete on price. Better to compete on value, offering better value. And actually today I just bought some Jordans, and it's actually the first pair I ever bought. So usually I don't really like to spend too much on money, too much money on clothes, because it's just not worth it. Meaning that this polo shirt, yeah, it's, I would say, decent quality, but it's not some kind of huge brand, right? Because there are levels in terms of clothing as well, meaning that, for example, if you buy from Zara or Uniqlo, there is a slight difference, meaning that Uniqlo is slightly more premium, but you also pay a slightly higher price. But it is worth it if you think in the long term. Same with the Jordans, right? I think they were like 100 euros, dollars, more or less, but they are from actual leather, so they will last longer. So you can either buy 2 pairs that are, let's say, decent quality, or 1 pair that's better quality. And in most cases, better quality is better, just because you also don't have to think about buying some new thing all the time, right? Same with the phone. Like, get one that's maybe 1, 2, 3 years old max, and then you'll still have it for like the next 3 to 4 years. Even with the iPhone, right? I think from the iPhone 12 onward, you don't really have to upgrade. I got the 15, but I also know that I'll probably not change it for around 5 years from now, right? So as you can see, we're always talking about different things. So I actually didn't brought this up, but it's about having weekend calls. And that's because on the weekend, you do have, I would say, some additional time and different time to focus on work, right? For example, I just had a call with a friend of mine. We have this call just to check in and also talk about what we're planning to do in the next week or so. And we do this weekly, bi-weekly. It takes maybe 30, most likely 60 minutes, but it's also like a friend check-in, and also making sure that we're going in the right direction. And we're doing this for almost like 2 years now, so it helps a lot because you do need a support group around you, and you need it for different things, for maybe, let's say, friendships, for talking about like anything, right? I have a few friends where I talk about anything. Then I have friends in business where we talk about business, about Facebook ads or specific things. Let me see, where are we at? 5 minutes. So good time, I guess, to talk about this, because during the weekend you can come up with different things that you wouldn't otherwise think of, just because it's a different time when, like, let's say you don't need to have calls, right? So you can have them just because you want to. And even that framing is very important, because it is your choice to have calls if you want, right? It's not like you have to. It's not like someone is forcing you. It's not like you need to in order for the business to run and so on. So that's a very, I would say, good benefit of doing work during the weekends, because if you have 2 additional days per week, right? Basically, instead of having just 100%, right? Because most people have 100%, they focus for around 5 days. You basically have more or less 140%, because you have 2 additional days, right? And each day is around 20%. And imagine if you compound that over time. That's when you actually get a lot faster to where you want to, right? Because, for example, I started working really late, at a later age, because let's say I fucked around by actually going to college for like 5 years. So I'm not saying it was a waste of time, because in terms of experience and everything, it was fine. But yeah, I mean, there's a reason why here in Europe there's not enough growth, because the system is just like very slow. Not to say that it's not in the US as well or in other places, but yeah, you need to know what you get into. If you go to college, it's not necessarily for you to actually like grow super fast, right? You are moving slower. Like, I knew that when I went to college, it was more so a time, especially during masters, it was a time more so to delay the fact that then I have to like learn a lot more and actually go into the real world, right? That's why I think most people actually around 25 they develop fully, besides all the chemical stuff in your brain and so on. I think it also has to do with the fact that around that time is when you also finish college and you actually have to go into the real world. Even though many people go into the real world, let's say so, at around 18, and that's actually a better thing, because yeah, you just go faster through some experiences that you need to. All right, so I think I also received a message from the IGDM. So IGDMs, and let me just say that the call that I had booked, fortunately, and I think it's the first time, was from the ad that was sent into the website, which is great, because the website actually shows, the website of the agency actually shows creatives. It doesn't show my face, which is ideal. Like, yeah, I do want to grow my brand and everything, but I would rather have clients work with my agency, not because of me, even though that's actually their main benefit. But it's just a perception. Like, all right, we're working with this agency because they seem competent, and not just because of one person, because then you will feel like you're tied to the business way too much, right? And it's like, without me the business wouldn't exist. Yeah, it might not exist, but still, you don't want to be like the face forever. So with that being said, because we're almost at 10 minutes here, let me show you the ads that actually brought in the call, and yeah, you'll see what has happened recently. So let's switch the camera. All right, so now that we're back, let's look at the ad accounts. So first of all, yesterday we spent around $36.5 and we got nothing. No book calls, no IG combos, I can confirm. And today, however, as you can see, basically you can see, there is one IG combo in my IG DMs. Unfortunately, Facebook isn't able to track that. But besides that, you can see here that there are 2 booked calls. So I don't like the tracking here because yeah, it's true. I do have 2 booked calls, and let me show you the analytics here. So in the last 40 days, I think I've had around 14 events, 8 completed, 3 canceled, and then yeah, it shows just some other numbers here. Most of them basically coming from either, let's say, my LinkedIn profile, or basically from the ads. And let me show you something. So this was the ad that actually got the calls, and as I mentioned, it is 1 call, so I'm not sure if meetings, I mean, if I go there, probably it will show too much data and I'll have to maybe cover some of it, right? Just not to dox anyone. But yeah, I got 2 booked calls. One basically, let me see. So one today on the 9th and another call on the 10th. But as I mentioned, it's the same person. But let me show you the ad again. So it's very simple. Q4 was the best for eCom. Q1 is the next best time with lower CPMs. I guarantee your meta ads can perform better in 60 days or you don't pay. Click here for a free consultation. So basically, free consultation, I guarantee. You don't pay. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually saying way too much here, to be honest. But it's like, all right, I need to reassure you that everything will be all right, you know? So gotta use very good copy here. Decent copy, let's say. So that's pretty much it in terms of what has happened, which is nice because $14 here. How many clicks did we get? So 5 clicks, that's pretty decent. As you can see, the CPMs are going lower, which I really like. And as I mentioned, that person was qualified, meaning that they do drop shipping, but unfortunately, the most I can do is probably consulting, not actually like working with my team and everything. But that's pretty much it. So let's switch the camera. All right, so now that we're back here for the last minute or so, as I mentioned, it's actually for the first time when that, not ad, but actually that funnel worked, right? Actually sending to the website, and then from the website, actually someone filling the form. And the form actually has a few questions, meaning that it does try to qualify. It asks you what's your website, how much you spend on ads, how much you make, phone number, email, and I think this person wasn't spending on ads, so that's why I mentioned they are probably not qualified, but still they can get consulting. And I've actually started to do this recently. Instead of offering Facebook ads services with creative strategy and everything, right? Because not everyone has the means to pay that yet, right? Because I charge minimum 3K for like the most basic of stuff. And that's why if someone actually is at their beginning journey, it's more so about consulting. So showing them what's the path, and then if eventually they get to at least 10K, 40K in ad spend, then at that point I would say they could actually benefit from working with someone who would look at the data, who would help them with their Facebook ads, who would be able to actually look at Facebook, Google together and try to make sure it's working holistically, right? So there are stages. Just like with everyone, we do go through stages with an agency, with an eCom brand, with our life, with our health, with everything else, right? So not to make this way too long, I think it's long enough and we did cover quite a few things in here. So basically these are, I would say, the last 4 days, because after day 45, I'll probably switch to some new content, and then I also have to go to Dubai in like 2 weeks. So yeah, we'll need to focus on a couple of other things. So for now, we'll basically end for today, and until next time, wishing you the best and peace out.